Week 9. Some of us get to sit and relax and watch the rest of the league scramble and figure out their lives. Others get to sit and enjoy their teams as they should handle business. This week is I don't know what you call this week. There's a lot of almost must win games for some teams this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, especially with this Thursday night game leading the charge on that front. But Nutmeg, what is going on?
Bucks McGee, I just want to we don't have to spend a lot of time on Ravens Dolphins. I just want to make one observation about this game. I don't remember if I've ever seen a team more adept at moving the football in this game, but less adept at actually getting in the end zone. The Miami Dolphins find so many ways to just beat themselves.
I'll give you that, except for that one penalty where Tua throws it deep, and then they call that what was it, personal foul on the offense for no reason. The running back falls and slips, and so the defensive player clearly hurdles him, no problem, nothing impeded, and they call it personal foul on the offense. But besides that, yeah, Tua looks great, except from 20 to 20, yes, but they just can't get it in the end zone. It is what it is. Doesn't bother me. Miami helped me out last week, so hey, Miami can do what Miami
That's right.
does.
That's
I
right.
got no problem with it. I'm not that impressed with Baltimore. Yep, they've got 14 points, but the way this game is gone, you figure they'd be winning, 28-0.
Oh yeah, this should be dominating. This should not be a one possession game at halftime.
But shout out to Mark Andrews, making himself look good
Yeah.
close to the trade deadline, because if Baltimore was smart, they trade him and get something for the future, but who knows? But yep, 14-6, it is what it is.
A Mark Andrews sighting, a rare Mark Andrews sighting.
Yeah, right. Isaiah Likely though showed up. He had a catch.
Yeah, for
The
the first time
future,
in 2 years.
the future, the future tight end. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
All right. So this week is a little bit of an interesting one. I mean, I guess it's kind of a shame from your perspective being on a bye week that you don't get to watch your team and there's not a whole lot tantalizing to the eye to dig into. The first one, of course, is a rivalry we've gotten used to seeing on the national stage for the last several years now. Chiefs at Buffalo. This one's back up in Orchard Park. And it's an interesting meeting here because if we were to talk about this game a few weeks back, we would have thought, oh, Bills are going to blow the doors off them. Chiefs are done. That, and the third. But we look at this now. I'm like, okay, Buffalo, they kind of sharpened their teeth a little bit, running the score up on the Panthers last week. Uh, but also, it's the Panthers. They hadn't played well before that, and the Chiefs are red hot right now.
True, but regular season, Buffalo has had Kansas City's number. I believe they're like 4-1 against the Chiefs. And that's when the Chiefs were at their full power too. So it's kind of like Buffalo can do it in the regular season, can't do it in the postseason. Don't know why, but that's just how the cards fall. Um, I also though think this is a big test for Kansas City. Yes, they've looked good, but they haven't exactly played the best of the best either. So this is going to be, I think, the first real test where we can say, all right, Kansas City's back. Now, if Buffalo comes and handles business and beats Kansas City, we sit there and say, all right, so was it false hope for Kansas City? What are the issues? Now, Kansas City needs the win because it's not like they're in first place. They're still, they still have a little bit of a hill to climb to, reclaim, first place in the West. It'll be an interesting game. Buffalo really needs Buffalo. Buffalo needs it because they've got New England on their tail. Point blank. New England has come out of nowhere, and now all of a sudden there's talk that, hey, New England could win the division. They could, get into the playoffs, be a major player. So this game will be fun to see. Both teams need it for their division, but we'll see what the Chiefs bring to Buffalo.
But to your point, if the Bills take care of business, and even if it's in a dominating fashion, you have that button in the back of your mind because they can't complete the other half of the deal. So like even if they were to win and even if they were to whoop on the Chiefs, there's still a feeling of no confidence in them to beat them later on down the road.
True, but who's to say Buffalo has to be the team to do it?
Well,
Denver is shown a lot. Who knows? Like, let's be realistic. Until the Chiefs really go on a real dominant run this year, I think there's still questions. Of course, Patty Mahomes, you never doubt him and all that. That's great, but who's to say, a team comes out of nowhere, takes the Chiefs out, and then we're sitting here going, we didn't see that happening.
On that note, we'll play a little momentary if the playoffs started today right now.
Okay, give it to me.
And now the Patriots are in first place in the division. However, the Bills are only a half game behind that. So let's just play a little hypothetical here. If the Bills were in first place right now, the Chiefs as the seventh seed would be playing the 2 seed. So right now the winner of the AFC East would play the Chiefs. So that Bills Chiefs playoff matchup could be a very real possibility.
It could be, but I'm kind of curious as to see how New England would roll with it, because no one really gave New England a chance this year. I think they could give the Chiefs a bit of a run. I think Drake May has been incredible this year. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I'd like to kind of see what that would look like, but at the end of the day, you give the devil his due, being Kansas City, but they're gonna have to go on a run and hope some things fall their way if they want the division. I think I honestly feel for them to really make it back to the Super Bowl, they should win the division. Now they've done it, wild card, they've run the gambit before, but I think this version of the Chiefs, I think the number 1 seed is very important.
I think the Patriots defense would match up pretty well against the Chiefs, but to play devil's advocate, and if we flip the two of them and give the Bills the benefit of the doubt for the division, the Chiefs stay in that 7 hole. Bills win Sunday. I can't say I have any confidence that they'll beat them again, even being the better team.
Well, no, because history says that they can't. So this is something that it's a hump that they're going to have to climb. But the way the AFC is stacking up, who knows? No, I don't. Yes, the Chiefs are starting to regain some form, but there's some new teams, some new players in this thing. So I don't know. Come week 16, week 17, who's going where, what it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting, but I think the Chiefs really would want to win the division to kind of give them some cushion. It's going to be weird. It really is, because people are, the odds are telling people that Baltimore's going to win their division. They're 2-5, but they're going to win the division. like literally the odds give them a 51% chance to win the division. Like, it's crazy. So
well, thank you, Green Bay Packers, for that one.
So like I don't even know. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, Buffalo, both teams need this game, but I think they need it for different reasons. If Buffalo starts out slow, it could be a long day. It's just going to come down to defense, and if Buffalo can handle the speed of the receivers, if they can stay with them, then I think Buffalo's got a chance.
And I don't have a ton of faith in Buffalo's defense, to be perfectly honest. They've had many lapses this season.
I don't either, but for at least a half, Marcus Mariota made the Chiefs defense look kind of ordinary. So I'm not sitting there hanging my hat calling the Chiefs defense dominant if Marcus Mariota for at least a half can sit there and do what he did. So we'll see what happens. It's the odds say, yeah, the Chiefs probably should pull it off because Buffalo is a home dog, but you got to play it.
Now, I'm going to make you feel extra special about those Ravens odds to win their division because my Colts have the opportunity to beat the Steelers this week. With the Steelers coming off that loss in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers could not beat his former team. So that would, if my boys can man up to the challenge, that would bring Pittsburgh down to 500. The only thing that makes me trepidatious on this is the fact that Pittsburgh, in playing in Pittsburgh, has been a little bit of a house of horrors for us, similar to playing in Jacksonville, which I still can't figure out for the life of me.
It's a situation of, almost like what Steelers team are you going to get defensively? If the defense can actually show up, it's going to be a good game. But if the defense just isn't there, then I think, Taylor, I don't know if Taylor puts up 3 scores, but I think Taylor, still, handles business, and, Indiana Jones, does enough where, he's not going to lose the game, and you guys should be able to handle business. I'm not sold on the Steelers. It's, to me, they look like a 9-8 team. I don't want to be rude about it, but I just think they look like a 9-8 team.
Or an 8-9 team.
Very well could be. Very well could be, especially towards the end of the season, because Baltimore plays their division 4 out of 5 times, and I think they played the Steelers twice. I don't know if they've played. I don't think they've played them yet, off the top of my head. No,
I don't think they have.
I don't believe so. So, that whole division is going to be interesting, and for the last 4 or 5 games of the season. But I don't trust the Steelers. I really don't. I think there's some nice lipstick on the pig, and this is going to be a true test. If they feel that they're a true player in the AFC, they've got to beat Indy.
Yeah, their defense, like you said, their defense is Jekyll and Hyde. So who knows which one Danny Jones will have an opportunity against. But also on the flip side, our defense may have. I don't ever want to say playing against Aaron Rodgers is an easy matchup, but the latest version of Aaron Rodgers, our defense may have a better time going against him.
It's a situation where they're a quick strike offense that Rodgers gets the ball, he's getting the ball out of his hands quick. It's not like he's sitting there dancing in the pocket like he used to in his Green Bay heydays. So if you stop the quick pass attack of Pittsburgh, then you've got a really good chance. Their run game is decent. It's not, I don't think it's incredible, but it's decent. It's solid. Warren's had a pretty decent season. So it's just going to be stopping the quick passes and just, sustaining drives.
Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell picked up off the scrap heap.
I'm telling you, man. Damn shame. Damn shame. Najee, poor Najee. I feel for you, buddy.
Oh, one of our favorite punching bags over the years.
Poor guy. Had a dream, and now he's riding a bench, injury prone in LA. Najee.
Do you think, especially the way the Packers game went, because the game was fairly close in the first half, I feel like if this game has any similar script to that game, if the Steelers defense can make it tight for a first half and then the second half gets away with them, Jonathan Taylor might have a hat trick, and it might all be in the second half because that defense will be tired, and the tired Pittsburgh defense is not tackling Jonathan Taylor.
No, that very well could be. It could be one of those things where, like we saw in the Chiefs game, it was 7-7 going into half, and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness!" And the next thing you know, the Chiefs explode and put up 21 unanswered and call it a day. Just eat it up. The Steelers, their number one concern probably this week is stopping Taylor and forcing, Indiana Jones to make the throws. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, okay, prove us that you're this new quarterback, that you're not Danny Dimes, that you're Indiana Jones, and prove it to us. So this game may ride on the arm of Indiana Jones. Never thought you'd hear anybody talk about the arm of Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes. The man's got so many aliases, it's illegal. But very well, that's what this could be. And I'll tell you this, if that's what it comes down to and he handles business, my opinion, the AFC, Rides through Indy.
Here we are back to our debate that's becoming a weekly occurrence. I try to make the argument for hashtag JT for MVP, get it trending, people, and you bring it right back to Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, baby. He's MVP. Start chanting it. Give the man his flowers. Running backs are sexy, but Indiana Jones is just Indiana Jones.
That whole it's a quarterbacks league. It's quite the stomach turning thing at times.
It is what it is.
All right, so we are going to have a bit of an extended segment of one of our usual favorite topics. It's good.
Good.
Extra point.
Extra point. Here we are. It's the extra point.
And there's a steady theme in this extended version of extra points. Can they stay in the hunt? Because there's several games this week that are a little bit one-sided. One team is been exceptionally good this season, and the other one is middling around 500, maybe at 500, maybe a game over, maybe a game under, and barely hanging on by a thread.
Oh Lord, week 9. Yeah, good times. Good times. Thank God for the bye. Good God. All right.
And you get to watch all these miserable matchups without the saving grace of watching your own team.
My liver gets to take a vacation from the fireball, so it's very good.
There it is. All right, so the first one of your favorite teams to watch lose, the Atlanta Falcons. 3-4. This is a very pivotal week for them to stay in the mix for the division, for the wild card, for the playoffs in general. They are going up to Foxboro. They are playing the Patriots. Can they stay in the hunt and pull the upset against Drake May?
All right, I've got to, put on my analyst hat and be polite, be correct down the middle.
And taking you back to a time you thought you had left in the past, rooting for the Patriots.
Long time ago. Long time ago. No, man, Drake May, that man is a sexy man right there. Drake May is on fire. This New England is good, man. I think at this point everyone's got to understand New England's going to be a player. Young, talented. They've got nothing holding them back. Atlanta just makes no damn sense to me whatsoever. There's all this talent. They just can't figure it out. Offensively, they should be putting up 40 points a game with all these weapons. Defensively, though, they are a wreck. Questionable trade at, I always go back to draft night where they, traded back into the first round and, picked up some guys who haven't really done anything this year. I like New England's defense better than Atlanta's overall.
Oh, yeah.
I think if it's a close game, I think Drake May makes that one throw that wins it. He's done it all season. I don't know if Penix is playing this week. I think he's a go. I'm not 100%, but I'll tell you this: if it's Kirk Cousins, no way in hell is that happening.
No, I think that game against the Dolphins proved a lot that Kirk Cousins doesn't have anything left. The Bengals are thanking their lucky stars. They rolled the dice on Joe Flacco and not Kirk Cousins.
So at this point, yeah, I don't know. I like New England in this game. Atlanta's going to have to play a complete game to beat them. Who would have thought we'd be talking about that about a team having to play New England this year? You got to play a complete game. But it is what it is, and this is, week 9. You're starting to see which teams are the real deal and which teams are the fakes. So, good.
And to your point on, it's amazing. You find it amazing that the Falcons can't put it together with all that talent. When you look at them, because we saw these teams play each other a couple of weeks ago, when you look at the Falcons and you look at the 49ers, the 49ers that have had everyone under the sun except for one of the most injured players in the league get hurt. historically. And the Falcons really haven't had anyone get hurt other than Michael Penix missing that game last week. And Bijan Robinson, he's had still a solid season, but not anywhere close to the season that Christian McCaffrey's had. It's kind of amazing that all those injuries cannot derail CMC, but a lack of injuries, Bijan still has not had that overwhelming presence that we feel he probably should. I don't think it's his fault, but nonetheless.
Yeah, like pivotal times of the game, for some reason he's on the bench. Kyle Pitts they better trade him. It's time for them to trade him and move on, because at this point it's just a joke. It really is. I think if you're a team that's just on the outside looking in, or if you're a playoff team that, just if you think you need that one more weapon, Kyle Pitts is the guy. If you were to put him on any other team, this guy is this guy's unbelievable. Atlanta just doesn't know how to use him. So it is what it is. If Atlanta wants any chance of the playoffs, they've got to beat New England, but I'm liking Drake May.
3 games into the show, and you've already called for 2 tight ends to be traded at the deadline: Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts. For those keeping score at home.
I'm all about the tight ends. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm a tight end guy, but let's be realistic here. Mark Andrews, it's time to move on, because I still don't believe that Baltimore does anything. But hey, it is what it is, and Kyle Pitts has just been a bust in Atlanta. Sometimes you just need to change of scenery, and voila, you become a star.
Next up, this one is an outlier here, because neither one of these teams is taking off, but they're both very much hanging on bated breath as far as trying to stay in the mix here. The Chicago Bears, coming off a very underwhelming performance against these Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals, who, despite Joe Burrow's injury, and just based on the sheer incompetence of their division, have kind of stayed close enough to be within striking distance. Bears are 4-3. Bengals are 3-5. I guess the 2-part question is, which team is a win here more important to? And also, with a loss, is either of these teams out of the picture?
I'm gonna say the Bears. The Bears need to win more because of the division they're in. Let's be real. Like, that division is. Last year they had what, three teams make the playoffs. This team is ridiculous, and the division is so bad, it's so tough that every win is a must. I think the Bengals could lose this game and still be hanging around, because you can't trust the Steelers. We don't know what Baltimore's gonna do. 2-5, this 2-5 team to all of a sudden make the playoffs.
Yeah, Cincinnati could lose, Baltimore could win, and they still have the same record.
Yeah. So so I would say the Bears are the team. The Bears need it because of the division they're in. It's that tight and it's that good.
And then likewise, are the Bears out of it with a loss? Are the Bears out of it with a loss? I guess because you already said Cincinnati wasn't. Now they're deep 500. They wouldn't be doldrums yet, but even so.
It's the situation is just the fact that Cincinnati they've got the offensively that they figure it out, and they've just played teams that have just been so bad defensively that they've somehow squeaked it out. Minus the Jets game, which just should never have happened. That should have put the nail in the coffin and called it a day. So Cincinnati, if they can pull off the win, there's hope. There's still hope there for Cincinnati. I think what they're trying to do is somewhat tread 500 till they hope Joe can come back. I don't think Joe comes back enough. I don't even know who wins this game. I've got a weird feeling that it's Cincinnati, but I'd like to see Caleb do something decent.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It is what it is.
Next up, the Houston Texans coming off a pretty significant win over the Niners, kind of bringing the Niners back down to injury-riddled earth. They host the Broncos. So at 3-4, this is pretty important for the Texans to stay in and get back to 500. But are the Texans done if they lose, if they are succumb to the better team here?
I think so. I think the Texans, they're going to be that team that kind of hovers around, and they'll have a game where you're like, oh, okay, they're coming back, and then they lose a heartbreaker the following week. I think this is just almost like a reset season. Play it. Maybe you catch fire towards the end of the season, and maybe eke into the playoffs. They go 3-5. You can't say that they're totally out of it, but I think the writing starts to show up on the wall a bit. I can't trust them. I just can't trust the Texans.
They're both defensive oriented teams. Um, is Bo Nix, could Bo Nix potentially have a tough afternoon for himself?
He could. I think Denver's a better defensive team, and I think because of that, I think it just works in Denver's favor. Bo has started to look a little better offensively in the last few weeks. I just think that overall, scheme wise and everything, Denver is just better. I think they're just better, and I think they'll somehow figure it out, especially because of their defense. Their defense might get a key turnover. Something may happen. I just like Denver better in the matchup.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think as far as everything on paper, I think Denver should be the overwhelming favorite here because I mean, nothing to take. I don't want to take anything away from Houston last week, but that almost felt a little fluky to me because San Francisco had been so hot.
Yeah, it was one of those games where you're just like, okay, something just doesn't, it just didn't feel right. Something seemed off, but I think Denver winning close games and winning the way they have been lately, I think is just going to serve them better towards the end of the season.
Preparation, playoff preparation.
That's exactly what it is. As long as you're 1 point better.
Another team that's really struggled of late. They were at one point. The storyline was everyone in the NFC North was above 500, and lately that's not been. The Vikings have not kept up their end of the deal with that one. And this week is a divisional matchup, and they go into MoTown. The Lions have strung together a few impressive games since that embarrassment in Arrowhead. So is this over for the Vikings if they were to lose this?
Yeah, there's no way they'd win the division for sure. Like I don't think they're winning the division, so they would have to backdoor their way into the playoffs. And there are a lot of teams, I think, in the NFC that have a chance to do that. So I think they're on the outside looking in. I think the injury to McCarthy early and just the issues with the offense. Give Carson Wentz his flowers. The guy tried, and especially that last game, literally shoulders hanging off the bone, just struggling. So I just think that they don't have enough at the quarterback position to sneak their way into the playoffs. I I could see them finishing 8, 9, something like that. I just think that this year has just been lost, especially at the quarterback position, and you still haven't seen a full year of JJ, so you don't know what he's going to give you. So there's still questions at the quarterback position. Like you need a full year of him to know what you're going to get. So unless a couple teams really, nosedive, I can't see them doing anything. So a loss, I think, really does them in.
I think I heard at some point this week that uh, Vikings weren't even necessarily sold on starting him this year. Like they would have preferred in an ideal situation to um, to have him sit one more year and learn. And then, of course, Sam left, and they weren't able to retain Daniel Jones. So I kind of got the impression from that whisper that JJ was kind of thrown into this before O'Connell was really ready to commit to him.
What should have happened, honestly, you saw what Sam did. If I'm Minnesota, yeah, and it sounds crazy, I'm shopping JJ because Sam would have given you 5 to 7 years of solid play.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, look what he's doing in Seattle. Like that's what you would have gotten. And with the
Yeah.
weapons you have in Minnesota, you're right up there. So you probably would have gotten a decent pick for JJ, and everything's moving. You don't skip a beat. Now you're sitting there saying, okay, well, once this guy gets healthy, I hope he's the guy. We still have questions about it, and your offense is struggling to put up points. And mind you, they have a solid defense, but like I always say, if your defense is out there too long, doesn't matter how elite you are, you're going to give up points. So this is where they're at. Maybe he catches fire, and like I said, a couple teams somehow really fall apart and they backdoor their way into the playoffs. But right now, they're one of those teams that I feel they're going to be. It's like the NCAA tournament, first team out.
Yeah.
In the NFC, they're going to be one of those, the first team out.
They're a classic 10 seed that should have been a 4 seed.
Exactly.
And half of America picks them out for the 10-7 upset on name recognition, and then they lose by 25.
Yep. Some guy bet him and bet his mortgage on it, and see you later. That man lost the house and lost his wife.
Double burn.
Oh, well.
All right, now here's an interesting one because Jordan Love has been getting a lot of praise this week for a historic of sorts type of performance. 20 straight completions, 350 yards, and there was some other random stat that combined together was the first time any quarterback's done in NFL history. My problem with this is it's like people are getting excited about Jordan Love off of a one game. Like he has to string. Like I'm not taking anything away, but it was an amazing game, or at least an amazing second half. But he needs to string together about 4 or 5 of these games for me to believe that this is the real Jordan Love here. Um, nonetheless, they are hosting the Panthers, who are 4-4. So I don't know. Do you want to talk about Jordan Love first before we get into this game?
No, and that's the thing. Like he shows the flashes where they're like, yep, he's the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers, and this is why they drafted him. He's incredible. And then, the next game, it's like he'll have 3 passes where you're like, why the hell did you throw that? And they end up losing. So you're right. He needs consistency. Before, we can sit there and show him love and all of that, literally.
No pun intended.
None at all. There needs to be consistency. Their defense is legit. You got to give their defense credit. But yeah, the offense, it's got to be consistent, and it all starts with him. If he can't show consistency, I can't take them seriously. But like the Panthers show heart. I got to give the Panthers credit. Like no one gave them a chance to do anything this year. They're 500. They're, figuring things out. Unfortunately, you got Andy Dalton there, so literally Green Bay should be able to handle this situation.
Yeah, would
This
you
could be the one game a year where Andy Dalton, all of a sudden, 3 touchdowns, 335 yards, the red locks flowing in the breeze as he leads them to an improbable victory. I don't know. Weird things have happened this year. But yeah, this is a game that Green Bay should win. And if they let this one slip, it's going to be like that tie that they've got on their record. Shouldn't have happened.
Yeah. and the question and all the hype on Jordan Love will slowly go back away because you had this amazing performance and you lose to Andy Dalton.
Exactly. It's going to be, we can't believe in you. We want to, but you don't give us enough to believe in you. So yeah, this game they need to win, and they need to win in dominant fashion. Even if they just pull it out, there's still going to be questions.
Yeah, and they need to look like the Bills to look made the Panthers look last week. That being said, Panthers are 4-4. Like you said, I also am utterly shocked that this team is 500 through half of the season. Um, but even with the question marks around Bryce's availability for this game, and maybe even going forward, is the Panther season done if they lose in Lambeau?
I don't. It very well could be, but like I've said, the way that, this is shaping up, there's going to be a lot of teams scrambling for, probably that final playoff spot. So right now, they're in the mix. So a loss is tough, but they got a better record than Atlanta. They got a better record than a lot of teams, So if any of these, 3-5 teams lose, they're still in the hunt.
Yeah.
So I can't say that, a loss knocks them totally out. It hurts them a bit, of course, but they're still in a better position than a lot of these 3-5 teams.
Yeah, and oddly enough, a 4-5 Panthers team looks better than a 4-4 Bears team.
Yeah, really. Think about that. Wow. It's crazy, but yeah, it's true. And then if they end up stringing a couple more wins here and there, because you can't trust the Bears for anything, who knows? Now, mind you, the Panthers may not get into the playoffs, but if they end up like one game out of the playoffs, it's a victory, I think, for them.
Oh yeah, they can actually justify an increase in season tickets next year.
Yeah, an extra $5.
That's right. Yeah, $5.
$5. Can't go crazy, man. You gotta give the people something. You can't go more than $5 on that.
And our final extra point game, as far as teams hanging in the balance, the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team I so abhor. 4-3. We once were looking at the Jags as like the darling surprise of the season, and here they are 4-3, barely above 500, and they're going on the road to Sin City. So this is kind of a must-win game, and it's weird to think of a must-win game playing the Raiders.
Yeah. They can't lose to the Raiders. If they have any dreams of right now it's wild card, because I can't see them winning the division. I don't see, a collapse at the top. So I think right now they're shooting for a wild card, and the Raiders are just a mess. There's talent there, but they've got to figure some things out. So yeah, they have to win. If the Raiders beat them, then the Jags are just phony, and they're another team that could go 9-8, and we'd be like, okay, whatever.
Ooh, a potential new tenant to the penthouse?
No, because there are a lot of people before them. I'm sorry. Sorry, man. They're like 6
There's
or
a line.
7.
There's a line to get in the penthouse.
No, man. No, there's a lot more room. There's a lot more people ahead of them. They might get like a weekend. It's like a timeshare. They might get like a weekend or something, but yeah, they can't. They're not. They don't have enough money to get a full stay.
Well, hey, you never know. I mean, the Ravens right now are trying to bust their way out of the penthouse. Might be
Yeah,
an extra
right
room.
now. Yeah, they're looking good right now. 28-6. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're still in the penthouse. They've got a while to go. But if they can work their way out, maybe Jacksonville can get themselves a weekend in.
a weekend, weekend at Trevor's.
That's it, man. It very well could be.
Oh, I'm sorry. Weekend at Sunshine's. Weekend at Sunshine's. We gotta get the name straight here. Well, Bucks McGee, it's your bye week. Not for me. I have quite the stress-inducing game here, but you get to at least relax and, like you said, take a week off of the Fireball. So.
Oh man, I'm telling you guys, a bye week is like a victory Monday. It really is. There's no stress. You're feeling good. You're like, all right, before you hit the grind. Yeah, there's some teams whose seasons may hinge this week. There's some teams who we kind of felt, were legit players in the playoff hunt and disappointed us. Some surprises. Wherever your team falls, good luck. But Atlanta, get ready because Drake May's a coming.